Welcome back to Think Design Work Smart. I'm Alex Bolboaca and I'm coming at you from the Mozaic Works studios. And what I have for you today is an analysis of a trend that's been predicted about AI and about how the advent of AI agents will change the landscape of applications, particularly software as a service applications. Now, before we start, typically when I try to pick the topics for these videos, I think about what comes on top of my mind for that week. And this week has been a little bit more difficult because a lot of things have happened since we started the year. There's actually a lot of things happening in software development. But one of the trends that I think we need to pay attention to is definitely Gen AI. Gen AI has now become more mainstream in a way and more stable. I think this is the year when it will kind of stabilize. We'll start to forget about some of the hype. We already see that the conversation around AGI is kind of slowing down. We did a few videos on AGI and how I don't believe we'll see it very soon. And of course, there are still people pushing this agenda because they have good reason to. Like the CEO of NVIDIA is very interested in that because they're basically selling the tools for that. So if there's more research, more work done for Gen AI training models and all that goes into their pockets because you need advanced graphics cards for doing the Gen AI stuff. And so OpenAI CEO Sam Altman will also talk about how AGI is around the corner because that's how he gets more funding. So of course there are these trends, but we start to see that this is kind of dying down. And my prediction for this year is that more organizations will look at Gen AI because it's becoming more mainstream. Like Google Workspace has introduced Gemini as part of their Google Workspace products. And Microsoft has introduced Copilot as part of GitHub subscriptions. So we can already see that things are moving in this direction. And there's a lot more conversations around the idea of agents. And I think agents prove, and this whole conversation actually proves that fewer people believe now in Gen AI because if you have Gen AI, you don't need agents. Agents are fundamentally purpose-trained models that, at least in theory, would be able to perform tasks and eventually become kind of digital workers for companies. And in this context, I'm also interested in two things. One of them is how business will change due to Gen AI, but also how architectures will change because of Gen AI. And I think in both of these, we are just starting to see the results. I don't think we'll see a lot of change this year, but probably next year you start to speed up and so on. Another thing that I'd like to say is that I had a feeling last year that we are approaching a new shape up in the world of software architecture. For almost a decade now, the main conversation has been around microservices and REST APIs and all that. And based on my experience, this is a fairly long time for software development to kind of stay the same in terms of architecture. It feels like, and call it an intuition due to my history in this industry and following this industry for a while, being a part of it. I feel that we are in for a new shake-up of software architecture. So in my keynote last year at the Today Software Magazine conference, organized by Today Software Magazine, my point was that we need to look into architectural styles and brush them up again so that we know them better when the time comes to do another shape up, because the change will probably be a new revivement of an older model with some changes. That's kind of what I expect. But yeah, let's see. So in this context, I found two articles very interesting. First one was Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO. AI agents will transform software as a service as we know it. The notion that business applications exist could collapse in the agentic AI era. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, has made some bold predictions about how AI agents will impact SaaS solutions moving forward. Speaking in an interview with Bill Gurley and Brad Gerstner on their B2G podcast, Nadella suggests that the notion that business application exists could collapse in the agentic AI era. The comments came in response to a question concerning Microsoft Copilot first approach and whether it will render some existing infrastructure obsolete. The Microsoft CEO expounded on this point, suggesting that at a fundamental level, SaaS business applications are essentially CRUD databases with business logic. This is interesting. I've made the case for a long time that, particularly in enterprise, in large corporations, there's a lot of work being done on services that basically move data from one part of the organization to another. And this type of plumbing software is probably the first candidate to go away if you get smarter agents able to, in what he's saying, to interpret the data, kind of create the business logic, but we'll see in more detail, or even to create this software. So it's very interesting. Is the business logic or rules aspect that Nadella believes will be taken over by agents? Indeed, he claims that AI will be deployed to manage rules across multiple apps or databases rather than having them hard-coded into each individual app. The Microsoft man expects this to lead to the collapse of traditional backend systems, with AI agents handling multi-repository CRUD operations across different databases. As he explains, they are going to update multiple databases on all the logic will be in the AI tier, so to speak. Once the AI tier becomes the place where all the logic is, then people will start replacing the backends. Nadella admits that with Microsoft's dynamics, the company is choosing to aggressively try and collapse backends, thus making SaaS applications less important. He claims that this is due to more customer demand for AI-native business applications, which can seamlessly transition from Copilot to agent to business app. As an example, Nadella highlighted the integration of Python with Excel, stating that it is like GitHub with Copilot. Python in Excel doesn't just analyze, it plans and executes using Excel's visualization capabilities as a scratchpad for analysis. According to the Microsoft CEO, the Copilot essentially becomes a tool within Excel, leveraging its Python interpreter for advanced tasks. At some point, this could evolve into generating entire Excel-like experiences via a code interpreter. With Copilot as the organizing AI layer, it can connect with agents, including those embedded in applications like Excel, Word, etc. The agents will then be able to handle specific workflows, Excel for data analysis, Word for legal documents, and so on, all with Copilot guiding the process. Interestingly, despite the implications that AI agent could lead to the replacement of certain CS applications altogether, in this example, Nadella is instead describing a scenario where it will be used to transform the solutions by making them more integrated, intelligent, and autonomous. So this is interesting because imagine that you have an agent that is able to speak to multiple databases or to multiple APIs. I feel it will be more likely that we'll have multiple APIs, honestly, and not necessarily databases, but maybe by database, what it means is database is hidden behind an API. And this is the kind of experience where, so basically the user experience gets moved into an AI tire. You are talking to an agent, and that agent knows how to talk to different APIs and do something for you. One scenario here would be, let's say you want to buy a ticket for, let's say you want to organize travel. Maybe that might be a good one. And you ask the agent, okay, book for me a weekend in Rome. Those dates, and so on. So what the agent could do is to first check your calendar, see your constraints in the calendar, then go to an API like Booking, for example, find where places were to stay, make a booking, go to an API like Ryanair, let's say, or an airline, another airline, and book a flight, and then go to the API for payment, make the payment, hopefully by telling you that you need to approve it, and so on. Maybe gather this data first and give you, like, they will make first a reservation and then confirm it. Things like that, okay? So, and now imagine this happening in the context of a business where it's about maybe, create a newsletter, send it to a bunch of your customers for specific offers. And then this agent will know how to go to your e-commerce API or database, get the products, create an offer, maybe a bundle, maybe something like that, identify the customers that would be most likely to buy this, and then go to create a new newsletter, create the offer on the website, embed the offer, and so on in the newsletter and send it, right? And again, I'm skipping over some very important steps here, like approval, review, and so on. But this is more to simplify things. So this would mean that fundamentally you don't interact with products through their UIs, but you interact with products through agents. And each agent would have their own field of expertise, let's say. And they could also collaborate. Like maybe you have one agent that creates the offer, one agent that, in this last example, one agent that creates the offer, one agent that creates the newsletter, one agent that publishes the offer, whatever, So there may be multiple trained agents that do that and that are trained specifically to do certain jobs, but they know how to interact with different APIs. So that's an interesting kind of future, right? Because that would change the focus of products to providing a learnable experience for AI through their APIs, which means that your UI and your learnability of the UI moves into the APIs instead of into the graphical user interface. Now, I'm not sure this will be great. We'll have to see. I'm not sure this will happen. We'll have to see. But it's definitely something that is a possible trend. So that's why I think it's interesting to analyze it. Let's see some reactions. Unsurprisingly, Nadella's comments piqued the interest of the customer service and experience tech sector, with a wide variety of views and opinions being expressed across social media channels. For Sabila Ahmed, Chief AI Product Developer, Skyward Blue, Nadella's thought on businesses needing to build their apps with AI agents from the ground up were of particular import. In a post on LinkedIn, Ahmed wrote that while AI is definitely disrupting the SaaS industry, it's also opening up a lot of new opportunities. Companies that start being AI first solutions will now be ahead of the game when their shift really takes off. In the same LinkedIn thread, Maurizio Ceccacci, Associate Digital Coach for SMB, also argued that the potential shift from a software-centric vision to an agent-centric vision is positive, as it means returning to a focus on solving the problem rather than on the technology to be implemented. This is very interesting in terms of reactions. All right, so I'll let you read through, if you are interested, through the other reactions here. What I find particularly interesting about this is that it comes from Microsoft, and typically when Microsoft comes with such a message, they are already doing something internally to support this kind of model. So I wouldn't be surprised if in a few months we get an announcement that .NET or Azure supports specific technologies for this, for creating AI agents along with your APIs, let's say. Right. So that will be very interesting to see. And usually when this happens, Microsoft has still a very big power in terms of marketing stuff. So this is definitely a trend that will be pushed if they see it as potential value for them. They will push it aggressively to existing customers and to C-level people in particular. They are very good at doing that. Okay, so it will be interesting to follow. Now, I'm not sure this will happen, but it's definitely a trend. I mean, Microsoft is not, of course, always successful. They had their own share of missteps when they pushed some technologies and then they didn't work, or the technology worked, but it didn't gain adoption. So, yeah, we'll have to see what's happening, but it's a trend worth looking at. Now, going back to this idea of agentic AI, we have another article where the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, is talking about agentic AI in 2025. And I feel this is interesting as well, because this time it's more about the business part rather than the architecture, but let's see. Digital workers that turn data into knowledge and knowledge into action seem set to start transforming the enterprise in 2025. In November, NVIDIA held an AI summit in Japan. Their CEO, Jensen Huang, has shared his vision for enterprise tech in 2025, calling it the year of AI agents. According to Huang, the first wave of AI agents will take hold in 2025 and see the rise of digital workers capable of understanding tasks, planning, and taking action. For instance, they may engage in customer service conversations, execute marketing campaigns, write software, optimize manufacturing supply chains, serve as research or lab assistants, act as tutors for executives or employees. These digital AI workers are essentially like digital employees, said Huang, and just like human employees, you have to train them. Additionally, business leaders must teach them about the company, coach them to have specific skills depending on their function, evaluate their performance, and guide them to ensure they do only the job expected of them. From there, leaders can deploy them, pay them with tokens, and have them interact with other agents to collaboratively solve problems and mechanize expensive workflows. At the AI Summit, Huang laid out his vision, and 1 month later, Salesforce executed on it with Agentforce 2.0, which the CRM leader tagged as a digital labor platform. Yet others will follow, and NVIDIA, which partner with Salesforce, will help them get there and go beyond what's currently on the market. After all, NVIDIA is not directly in the service or solution delivery business. Instead, it provides the enabling technologies for others to create and improve AI systems. Yeah, so if you notice, what they are focusing on is you need a lot of these agents and you need to trade them. And why? Because you'll need hardware from us to do that. Now, of course, they are pushing their own interests, but it's still the vision is still interesting, right? Central to that is NVIDIA NeMo. It's a lifecycle platform. NeMo provides libraries and tools for every stage of the AI development process, including data curation, training, fine-tuning, synthetic data generation, evaluation, and guardrails. Synthetic data generation is something very important because we ran out of data to train AI. Yes. At least that's what I've seen in many places. So now they need to generate data in order to train agents. Moreover, NVIDIA packages pre-trained models into what it calls NIMs, Neural Information Microservices. These NIMs enable seamless integration and interaction between AI systems. And NVIDIA is working with independent software vendors like Salesforce, SAP, and ServiceNow, and service providers such as Accenture and Deloitte to help them leverage NeMo and NIM. In doing so, NVIDIA is playing a critical role in building the industry-specific digital workers that improve enterprise productivity by turning data into knowledge and knowledge into action. That's massive, and 2025 will say agentic AI ignite a spark within enterprises. Yet Huang warned, none of these agents can do 100% of anybody's job. However, all of these agents will be able to do 50% of your work. This is the great achievement. All right, so think about it this way. I think this goes actually in two directions. In terms of enterprise, there will definitely be the temptation of adopting these agentic AIs and either reduce the workforce or increase the capacity. You could scale the business, or you could kind of keep the same throughput or increase the throughput a bit more, but reduce costs with people, maybe, although these are quite expensive technologies, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely becoming a competition on, or it will become a competition on the market, on the labor market. Now, AI agents have a few advantages. They can work 24 hours out of 24, so 24/7, right? No holidays, no sick days, although, bugs, those may be qualified as sick days. So it's very tempting to go there, I think. Now, in terms of costs, we'll have to see. I imagine they will be less costly for certain jobs, but not for all of them. And that's not great news. On the other hand, though, imagine you're starting a business and you're a solopreneur. So you start by you build a business around yourself and you know everything that's going on in the business, but at some point you need to scale. And one way to do that would be to hire some of these digital assistants. And because you know everything that needs to happen in the business, you can easily monitor this, but they will just take away some of your work. This means that we might see more smaller businesses competing in various spaces because of AI. And this in turn might create additional jobs. Because if you have multiple businesses competing, then you have additional jobs in those businesses. As you can see, they are not saying that these are completely autonomous. That would be a lie. The AI agents will never be, will not be in the near future completely autonomous because they still make a lot of mistakes. So we still need to train them. But they may be going in that direction. Okay. So as any technological innovation, technological change, technological revolution, there will be some people who are advantaged by it and some people who are disadvantaged by it. And some jobs might disappear while some other jobs will appear. We'll have to see. I'm really curious what will happen. Personally, I'm all for people working rather than AI. Even though I come from technology, I still don't find AI to be very compelling here, but we'll have to see. Right? I don't know what will happen. So it's a trend that is definitely worth watching. Beyond 2025, where will agentic AI go next? Many enterprise and users of AI systems are getting behind Huang's vision for 2025, including SoftBank Group, a large Japanese internet service company. And let me add here, if you don't know who SoftBank is, they are saying a large Japanese, it's a massive investment group. They had a lot of money, they invested into a lot of things. Its CEO Masayoshi Son joined Huang at the AI Summit, but beyond digital labor, he also touted the potential for personal AI agents to flourish. I'm excited about enterprise AI agent, but also personal agents will come to everyone. They will make our plans for trips, education. It will follow you for your whole life. In Son's vision, he knows how an AI agent may track someone's health or education to provide life advice. For instance, it may monitor everything they've read and become their personal tutor. As such, it will become an AI companion or digital twin, something that lives alongside a person. Already those that have played with functions like ChatGPT's memory feature may envision such a future where people can interact with AI in a hyper-personalized way. Yet that future may not be far away. Indeed, NVIDIA's largest partner, Microsoft, is focusing on turning Copilot into personal AI that forms a meaningful and lasting relationship. That's massive for consumers, but personal AI employee companions are another form of AI that could, beyond 2025, start to take over the enterprise. And now you see there is a bit of a problem here, because if a lot of jobs get replaced with AI agents, who will be able to pay for a personal AI assistant? You need some form of, compensation for that. So anyway, it's these are some of the trends that I've seen and that I think are interesting to discuss. And now, as I said in the beginning, nobody's mentioning AGI anymore, except a few people who are either buying into the hype or who are selling the hype. But you see that the large companies that drive this industry, they don't talk about AGI. What they talk about is agents. And agents to me make sense because one of the problems with AI is that it can make mistakes, but if it can, that's a function of the domain. If you can make the domain smaller, then it's likely that the agents will make less mistakes. And that's why it's very likely that we'll see AI agents. Now, will their promise hold? We don't know. We still have to see them in action in real life, not in doctor conditions, not in demos, actually playing in real life, right? There were a lot of demos with agents that, I don't know, write code great and it works perfectly and so on. And then it turned out, yeah, this was just a demo, very doctored, very, how would you say, in conditions that under the best circumstances to showcase the technology. But as we can see, there's definitely a drive around agents. And I think we'll see more and more agents in 2025, but more likely in 2026. I think the adoption of these agents will take longer than they are saying. Maybe initial adopters will start in 2025, but honestly, enterprises, if everything goes well, it will take another few years, I think, because the changes necessary are there are a lot. There's a lot to change in an organization in order to adopt these things. It's not as easy as, we install some stuff and they start working for us and that's all. No. There's a whole ecosystem that needs to be created. It will be difficult to do. So yeah, this is where we are now. This is 2025. So what do you think about all this? Are you excited about AI agents? Are you scared about AI agents? What do you feel? I'm curious to know. Let us know in the comments. We love your comments and we love answering to comments. We love having this community in contact with us as much as possible. Thank you kindly for the view, and until next time, remember to think, design, and work smart. See you next Saturday.